talk about safety, if you know these terminologies like HSE, like EHS, like OHS, what are these terminologies? These terminologies are basically occupational health and safety. So occupational means work related. If you are getting injured at your home, it will not be considered as work related. It will not be considered as occupational. But if you are going to injured, or if you are going to have backache, if you are going to have problem in your breathing, if you are having problem in your eyesight or in your hearing protection, in your hearing senses, so these will be considered as your work related, or we can say occupation. So this HSE is basically, H is about health, which means work related issues which are due to ill health problems. These are not the accidents which can cause you physical harm. But when we talk about safety, it is more about physical, right? So in our companies, most of the time we are focusing on safety issues. Safety issues. You will find many safety rules, even the risk assessment. All the commitments are about safety. But very less companies are also focusing on the health issues. For example, the people are doing heavy lifting. The people are working in noisy area without hearing protection. The people are working in unsuitable environment, which is harmful for their health. So these are also the health related issues, are also HSE issues. We need to focus on these things. So ILO estimates 2.78 people are getting affected due to work related accidents every year. And every single day, the deaths are around 6,000. So 6,000 deaths. We are now watching world corona issues. But we can see that the corona issues are less than the 6,000 deaths per day, which is due to occupational accidents or occupational issues. So, excuse me. Can you see the screen again?
Yeah, Mr. Anas, we are seeing the screen.
Clear.
Okay. So
We will see your screen and also your presentation. So
thank you. Accidents annually, which is, as I told you, physically, and 160 million illness issues, which are related to the work-related issues. So these stats are being taken from the link which I have already mentioned here on your presentation, and this presentation, inshallah, we will also share with you at the end of webinar. So you can go and you can see in further detail. So now we can assume that the safety is not you can say it's not an optional. Nowadays, safety, when we have more awareness among the people, when we have more awareness among the government, the safety has become a core issue. The safety has become a serious issue for the companies, for the employers. So now, who is responsible for safety? Anyone?
I guess everyone is responsible for the safety environment.
When we say everyone responsible, you are right. Then why we need to have safety manager? Why we need to have safety engineer, safety inspector?
because
Yeah, please continue. Because we have safety manager, safety department. The purpose for these staff or these people are basically they act like our consultant, right? They act like our consultant. Their job is to provide us authentic guidance. Their job is to provide us facilitation, because everyone in the company, they don't have the expertise in the safety. Yes, we have the common sense, but the way we are going to assume the things, analyze the things, are different from person to person. So we have to be very careful while taking the safety decisions. So safety, that's why we have the safety department, that's why we have managers, and who are basically responsible for assisting us. And the purpose for safety department, definitely they are overall responsible. They are here to guide us. But keep in mind that safety department cannot do everything. Safety department is not a police department, right? They are the one who are always uh, there to guide you, not to solve your issues, or they will not clean your fire extinguishers. They are not going to clean your uh, you know other things. Their job is basically to facilitate you, to guide you in an efficient manner. Their job is to guide you, to protect you against all possible hazards which are in the company. But at the end of the day, it's your own choice if you want to adopt those practices, if you want to adopt those rules which are being set by the safety department. Okay. Otherwise, we are all responsible for our safety. We are all responsible for our department, our area safety. We are all responsible for the safety of our home. In our home, there is no safety manager, there is no safety department, but we always try to be careful. For example, if your child is going to put his finger in the socket, you are going to stop him. If your child is going to put their finger in the fire, you are going to stop it. You will never touch the naked wiring, because you know that it's an hazard. There is no safety officer, there is no safety manager, but you are going to follow it. Why? Because it's all about common sense. So principally, we are all responsible for health and safety, and our safety department is there to facilitate us. Okay. Don't put everything responsibility of safety department, otherwise they will get exhausted, and after some time they will leave the job. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of health and safety? There are many benefits of health and safety, we all know, but the most common are, for example, reduction in the accidents. If we have a good system of safety, we can find that we will have less accidents as compared to our previous years. If we have control policies and procedures available, and we are going to train our people on these things, so our compliance record is going to increase. If the company is having which is involved in the construction activity, and last week one of your colleague or your supervisor was having injured, or he was about to die. So now today, when you are going in the company and you are doing the same work, it will come in your mind that, like he was getting injured, I'm also getting injured. It might be possible that today it's my turn to get injured. So where is the commitment then? Where is the level of our motivation? So all our motivation is going to down. We will be spending time just to earn our salary, rather than to have very sincerity or the creativity in the work. Our productivity is going to be reduced. So nowadays, if you see there, everyone is having mobile and camera and all the messages, Zoom and WhatsApp. So we are all, mashallah, we are all media reporters, right? Whenever we heard any news, most of the time we don't verify the source, and we are spreading it like that it is my ethical and social responsibility to propagate or to spread the negative, or to spread those news which are least important for the people, but once they are going to read this news, they will get under stress. The recent example of corona, you will find hundreds and more than thousands of messages on your WhatsApp groups everywhere, and most of the groups are only just to create the chaos, just to create the stress on you. And those people who are always watching WhatsApp and they are reading these kind of news, they will not get harm with corona, rather they will get harm with the stress due to these kind of news. So if we are safe company, our media coverage is going to improve. If we have any accident, if we have any fatality, so people are not going to to do any favor. They will make the clips, they will make the videos, they will make the pictures, and they will spread. I remember last if you can just keep your mics on mute, please. In last Ramadan, there was a fire incident in one of the very, good company in Yambu. So when I asked my friend in Yambu what happened to that company about the fire, He told, I don't know. But those people who are not in Yanbu, those people who are not in Saudi Arabia, they know that there is a fire, and the news was roaming in all over the subcontinent, in all over Philippines, in all over the countries. So this is you can say that this is going to create a panic. And if such a news is going to spread about your company, now you can think that what will be the level of embarrassment for you as an employee, what will be the stress level on your family. So if we have a good health and safety management system, we will have improved our daily basis activities. We will be having improved productivity, and ultimately lower insurance premium, because in the company all the assets are insured. So the more accidents you are having, which means that more chances of insurance premium is going to be increased. Similarly, we have our clients will be satisfied with our safety performance. Many of the companies, their clients are asking for the safety audits, for the safety performance. So they are going to be satisfied with our results of safety if we are working in a safe environment, right? If you have any questions, as I told you, please write on the chat options. So at the end of webinar, we will discuss those questions. Okay, now the most common health and safety standards. Internationally, there are many health and safety standards available, starting from American standards, UK-based standards, and then every country, they have their own legal requirements. So wherever you are staying, wherever you are working, you have to follow their legal requirement, which is the topmost requirement. Is the OSHA standard, because, and then the UK-based standard. OSHA is basically legal requirement of US. Every country, they have their own legal requirement. So in USA, the legal requirement is OSHA. In Kingdom, in Saudi Arab, in Middle East, since most of the companies, they also follow American standards. So that's why OSHA standard is very common here in Saudi Arab and in other Middle East countries. And similarly, we have Health and Safety Act 1974, which is the legal requirement of UK. Now you can see this is a legal requirement of UK. Many companies, they also follow the UK standard, where your client is a UK-based company, or the company itself is a UK-based company, or so. Then we have some other standards which are always available for our guidelines, which are always available to support us, which includes ILO standards, which includes ISO 45000 standards. And then in Saudi Arab, we have Saudi Arabian standards, for example, SASO, Civil Defense Standard, GOSI. And then there are some companies who are having their standards which are very efficient in terms of health and safety. So for example, Aramco, SABIC. So these are the health and safety standards in Saudi Arab. Unfortunately, still we don't have a single standard of health and safety in Saudi Arab, which, like we can say this OSHA, which is having, for example, 8 volumes. This is our health and safety standard. But in Saudi Arab, still we don't have a single document which we call as health and safety. So the requirements of health and safety are dispersed. Some of the requirement with SASO, some of the requirement with Civil Defense, some of the requirement with MSLD, Ministry of Social and Labor Development. So that's why sometimes it becomes challenging that when you are going to implement health and safety standards in your companies. ISO 45001 is basically a management system for occupational health and safety. It is going to give you the requirement that how you are going to manage health and safety. OSHA is basically going to give you the requirements of health and safety. But how to manage, for this purpose, we need to have ISO 45000. For example, OSHA does not ask you to have health and safety policy, commitments, and all these things. But OSHA is going to guide you. What OSHA is going to guide you, we will see in the later slides. ISO 45000 is going to give you a framework that how your management system should be look like. And after ISO 45001 implementation, you can get third party. But after OSHA implementation, there is no certificate is available against which you are going to judge your performance. So now let's discuss about OSHA standard. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Occupational Safety and Health Administration. It is basically the agency of US, which works under the Department of Labor. They call it Department of Labor, or we can say Ministry of Labor, DOL or MOL. The OSHA has the principle that they have three main activities which they are going to perform. The first activity, that they are going to inspect the companies time to time. For example, any of the ministry inspectors, they are going to inspect your companies time to time to check if you are going to fulfill the health and safety requirement of the country or no. Second purpose, that for example, you have organized a new company, you don't know what are the health and safety requirements applicable to me. So to whom you are going to ask? You are going to ask, if you are in USA, not in other countries. If you are in USA, then you are going to contact OSHA, and they are going to give you the guidance that which of the the standards are applicable to you and what are the requirements you are going to apply. And the third responsibility is to guide the people through education. They have the trainings available.
Hello.
They conduct the. Yes, can you hear me?
Little bit problem on your voice, so kindly check it.
Okay. So the third requirement, the third mission of OSHA is to guide you, to educate you on the health and safety requirements which are being developed. So OSHA requirements are being developed in the parliament. OSHA requirements are being developed by the member of parliaments and the Senate. But OSHA inspectors are basically, they are regulator. OSHA is basically regulatory body. Like our police is our regulatory body. Like our Difa al-Madni, they are our regulatory body. They are not to develop the laws. Their job is to make sure that the people are following the laws. So OSHA is also the same working mechanism. Their job is to make sure that the companies are following the laws, and they are working in all these three dimensions which we told you already. Now, OSHA has basically four major standards. The most popular is the general industry standard, and the code for general industry standard is 29 CFR 1910. Don't be confused with 1910. It is not the year of publication. It is just a code. Like OSHA has many standards and they have different codes. So general industry standards are the requirements for general industry. When we say general industry, which includes all the industries other than these three kind of industries. For example, oil and gas, for example, petrochemicals, for example, manufacturing companies. These are all included in general industry standard. And then we have construction. So construction sector is a bit different. Although 60% of the requirements for general industry and construction industry regulations are same, but they have considered as the construction industry as a separate standard, and for which the code is 29 CFR 1926. Then we have maritime industry 1950, which are applicable for maritime activities, which are applicable for those activities which are related to terminal, related to sea and port activities. Then we have agriculture industry, which is 29 CFR 1928. So agriculture industry is our, they have a separate regulation for this. So now what we learned from these four standards, that whenever we are working in any of these four companies, we have to know about the laws which are applicable to my scope of work. Sometimes what happened, that we have seen from our experience, that you are working in a manufacturing company, for example, you are working in oil and gas, you are working in a food company, but you are applying the regulations of construction industry, or you are applying the regulation of maritime industry. So this is something which is a big you can say a big weakness of any of the management system, because the things will get disturbed. So now what we need to do, we need to understand that what kind of my industry is and standard I have to follow. If you go to the OSHA website, osha.us, you will find all these standards in PDF form. So these all standards are available in detail. Every standard has number of volumes, have number of codes available. So you can start reading for these standards. Also, in other words, if you are going to find any specific requirement, so what you can write on the Google that 29 CFR 1910 for permit to work, for entry into confined space, 29 CFR 110 for working at height, 29 CFR for fire safety. So you will find a specific requirement. Similarly, on their website, OSHA website, they have all the standards available in the PDF. So I would suggest that whenever you have time, you should start studying these standards, especially nowadays you have more time. And even sometimes if you are not able to sleep in the night time, you can just start reading these standards and then you will get sleep, I hope. These are very dry standard and you will not be able to understand all the terminologies. So at least it can act as a very good sleeping pill. And whenever you have the requirement, then you have to read them in the morning time. So the requirement can be discussed later on. So when you are applying the OSHA standard in your companies, there is no certification. As I told you, in ISO 45000 management system standard, when you are going to apply these requirements, you will get certification. Certification will be awarded, right? But in case of OSHA, there is certificate, because even in USA, there is license that you are complying with the OSHA requirement, but not the certificate. For example, here we have a Mandi certificate that you are having, you are basically meeting the requirements of a standard. Okay. Just a minute. In case of OSHA, they have also providing the training for various topics. And these topics are like OSHA 30 hours, OSHA 10 hours. Then we have some other standards also, which are required by the training. These all standards are applicable in, as I told you, in Saudi Arabia and all in the Middle Eastern countries, because most of the countries, they follow US-based standards. So the major topics which are being covered in OSHA 30 hours training, you can see in the general industry topic, there are around 14 topics, starting from introduction to OSHA, health and safety program, walking and working surface, egress, fire and fire prevention, electrical hazards, ergonomics, PPEs, logout, tagout, permit requirement. Similarly, topics in OSHA 30 hours are also like in construction. You can see introduction to OSHA and almost the same topics, but some of the topics are different, like stairways and ladders requirement, hand and power tools, scaffold. So OSHA, you can see that the OSHA is going to give you the requirements, okay, for your activities. For example, when you are dealing with the electricity, what precautions you have. There is in OSHA, the simple formula is to identify the hazard and apply the control. Identify the hazard and apply the control. So the control is basically the regulation, which is being defined by the OSHA. So inshallah, next week, starting from 13th of April, we are starting OSHA 30 hours training, which you can join, inshallah. It will be in the evening time. So now the next topic is about NEBOSH. NEBOSH is basically National Examination Board for Occupational Safety and Health. As I told you in the startup, that NEBOSH is not the regulation. NEBOSH is not the legal law. NEBOSH is basically an independent examination board of UK, which create the qualifications, and then you as a participant or you as a candidate, we get these qualification. They have the examination which we are going to pass, and then we get the authorization, or we can get the recognition that we are having NEBOSH, HSW or IGC or certificate or diploma or award, whatever the category. There are many qualifications with the NEBOSH in many sectors, but the most common qualification is NEBOSH IGC. So NEBOSH IGC is basically level 3, equivalent to level 3 qualification of UK. Then like NIBOSH diploma is level 6 qualification. NVQ, they have level 4, level 5, level 6 qualification. So there are different level of qualification. This qualification level, it affects on the your membership of Tech IOSH, of IOSH as well. For example, if you are having NIBOSH IGC, you can have Tech IOSH or associate membership of IIRSM, which are the international platform for occupational health and safety membership recognition. Okay, so IGC is the international journal certification, which is the most common qualification of NIBOSH. It has two parts mainly, IG1 and GC2. IG1 is going to discuss about the management of health and safety. For example, risk assessment, investigation, audits. These are being is basically are almost those topics which is about the hazard and the risk, okay, and the control, hazard and their control. So what are the topics in GC2 are almost the same topic which we have shown you in last slide. For example, electrical safety, fire safety, permit to work, log out, tag out, machine, machine hazards and control. These biological hazards, chemical hazards, all these kind of topics which which are also available in OSHA. You will find these all topics in GC2, but in much detail. In OSHA 30 hours, the discussion is brief. You know, it's only 3 days, 4 days training for OSHA 30 hours, but IGC, NIBOSH IGC is like 12 days, like 10 days, like more than these days. So all the topics are being discussed in detail. IGC is qualification is higher than OSHA. IGC qualification is higher than IOSH. So those people who want to have IGC qualification or OSHA qualification or IOSH qualification, there is no educational prerequisite to attend these qualifications. You need to have that. If you are going to give the exam in English, so you should have good English understanding, good writing in English writing skills. See, there is no examination for your punctuation. There is no examination for your vocabulary. The examination is about your concepts. So don't think that if I'm not very good in English, I cannot pass the exam. You can still pass the exam because most of the words which are being used are technical terminologies rather than your English language examination. So as I told you, IGC, there are two main parts. So the examinations are also two. Okay, one exam is the theoretical exam, which you are going to give in the British Council. It's like 2 hours, and those people where the English is not the first language, you will get an extra half an hour for the GC1 exam. And then there is one risk assessment project. Risk assessment project, when you are going to discuss GC2 about the hazards and control, so there is no examination for this module. This part of BOSH qualification, it requires you to perform the activity, because to be more practical side, the BOSH has decided that instead of theoretical examination, before 2020, when the NIBOSH has old syllabus, it has 3 exams, 2 theoretical and 1 report writing. Now, starting from December, they have reduced 1 theoretical exam. So now there is 1 theoretical exam and 1 risk assessment project. So risk assessment project is also 100 marks, and you have to take 60 marks to pass this risk assessment project. And GC1 also has 100 marks, and you have to take 45% to get passed in this exam. NIBOSH IGC has descriptive exam. It is not multiple choice question answer. So there are like 10 marks question answer, 8 marks question answer. Around 12 question answers are there which you have to attempt, and these are having total in 100 marks. And you have to get minimum 45 marks to get pass. So this is about NIBOSH qualifications. We can see further here in this slide that the topics which are being covered in IG1 are why should manage health and safety, how health and safety system works, managing the risk, health and safety monitoring and measurement, and then GC2 part, workplace controls. You can see transport hazard, musculoskeletal hazard, fire safety, electrical safety. These are all in GC2. almost same topics as we have in OSHA 30 hours. And you have to do the risk assessment in these steps. And after that, you have to submit a detailed report, which consists of identification of hazards, and then the risk assessment, and then the control measures which you are going to propose. So this is about the report of these things. NIBOSH IGC, inshallah, we are going to start from tomorrow, this course at 6 o'clock in the evening. Tonight is the last registration date for the NIBOSH IGC. It will be delivered by one of our most experienced trainer, which is having more than 50 NIBOSH sessions for IGC. So it will be from 6 o'clock Saudi Arab timings till 10 o'clock from 10th April till 23rd of April. So if anyone interested, you can contact us, and we will provide you further detail. And it will also be like on the Zoom software, like you are attending this course. So IOSH is basically, it's also an international platform. They also have the courses, and the main function of IOSH is to recognize the professionals who are in the field of health and safety. So they have the memberships. After NIBOSH HSW, you will get no membership for the, there is no membership for the award level course. But if you will do IGC, you will get Tech IOSH. If you are doing IDIP NIBOSH or level 6, any of the level 6 UK based qualification, you will get Grade IOSH. And after that, you proceed to CM IOSH, which is one of the highest level of membership in the field of health and safety. And after, once you will become more experienced, you will get the CF, Chartered Fellow IOSH member. So these are all the level of memberships which are related to the qualifications. Now let's discuss quickly about the other qualification. Then we will start the question and answering session. There is another qualification called IOSH Managing Safely. IOSH Managing Safely, as you can see from the name, from the title of the training, that it is for the managers, it is for the supervisors, who are not the workers, basically, who are responsible for certain number of staff to manage them. Now, it is very important to understand that IOSH Managing Safely course is not only for the safety professional. This course is also important for non-safety professional, because if you are a supervisor, if you are an engineer of some area and there is an accident in your area, so who will be the responsible? So definitely, as a supervisor, as a manager, as an engineer of this area, you will be responsible. So you should know basics of health and safety. This course is a very interesting course. It contains all animations. This course is online course. The slides are running online, not like PowerPoint. It has very good videos and animations, and very good workshops as well. The major topics which are being covered in this course, you can see: assessing the risk, controlling the risk, understanding the responsibility, understanding the hazards, these investigating incidents, and measuring performance. So you can see that these all topics are not those topics which are included in the OSHA course. These are all the topics, basically, most of these topics are being discussed in NIBOSH IGC 1, right? GC 1 part, these are the topics, management of health and safety are being discussed. Incident investigation, as a responsible, you should know how to do the risk assessment, you should know how to recognize the risk assessment, how to identify the hazard, how to do the performance measuring, for example, by means of audits, by means of inspections, by means of health and safety KPIs. So this is also a very interesting qualification for those people who want to start their career in the field of health and safety. OSHA and IOSH qualifications are going to have very strong foundation. And this qualification has also exam and the risk assessment project. Now, this is important that this exam is like MCQs based type exam, and the risk assessment project is same like GC2 project, right? Even the format of the risk assessment is same for now. It's for IOSH and NIBOSH. So what we suggest to our students, what we advise to our students, that it's better that you should start with OSHA, IOSH, and then go for NIBOSH. But if you are already experienced, if you are already in the field of health and safety, you understand the basic terminologies, then even you can go directly for the NIBOSH IGC, which is the higher qualification as compared to OSHA and IOSH. But to have the basic qualifications, for example, for the safety officer job or for the inspector's job, OSHA and IOSH are going to have very strong foundation for you. Inshallah, Ayush managing course, we are going to start from 19th of April, and there is also a 5-day course, and the exam will also be through online by using the same Zoom software. If so, then we have lead auditor courses. Many of the participants, they are always asking us about the lead auditor courses, about the ISO courses. So these are 9,001 is for the quality and 45,001 is for the health and safety. Okay, these are going to have to guide you about the auditing of health and safety. Remember, I told you 45,000 or 9,000 are management systems, how to have the framework, how to assess your system. And this is the highest qualification in the as far as the standards are concerned. So lead auditor courses are very popular throughout the world for the management position. We advise that those people who have already done the basic health and safety courses, they can proceed for the ISO certifications, because as far as their title or in the CV, it will be always a good addition to have the lead auditor courses. The companies, those who are already certified or they are planning to certify on ISO standard, definitely they need the people who are going to develop the standard. So if you are having ISO lead auditor courses, you can be able to develop those management system, and with the passage of time, you can have good learning experience. And this course is more focusing on the auditing side. So you can perform the internal audits. You can have one benefit that you can work as a freelance auditor with certain certification bodies. On this will be an additional activity and income for you. For the supplier audits, you can even if you can develop a mechanism of supplier audits within your own company by discussing with the purchase department, like other multinational companies or Aramco, Sabic, ADNOC, they do their supplier audits. So you can also develop your mechanism to have the supplier audits. So this qualification is a higher level of qualification. If you are a fresh engineer or you're very fresh in the field of health and safety quality, we suggest that don't go for this qualification directly unless you have a couple of year experience in this field of management side. As I told you, these all courses are internationally accepted. The courses which we are providing, most of them are internationally accredited courses, and they will help you in development of your career. These courses are all acceptable in all major companies, and they can also help you in the immigration purpose for UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Because these are the qualification from them. So they regard their qualification, and they give you additional benefits if you are having these international qualifications. Because nowadays the competition is very high, even in the local companies. So if you are not a professional, or if you don't have the multi-qualification, your survival will be a bit difficult. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the things were not like that. Now the things are going to be changing very rapidly. So we have to be focus on these qualifications. These are some of our popular courses, and I will give you the slides as well in the group, so you can see these all courses in details, and our contact details are also given here. These are our schedule for the month of April. We will have NIBOSH IGC, as I told you, starting from tomorrow, then Ayush from 19th, OSHA from 12th of April, lead order courses from 18th of April for 9,000 and also for 45,000. So these all courses will be on the virtual setup, like we are interacting with you, and there is also a discussion involved during the courses. We will be having workshop during the courses. We will be involve you in different activities during these courses, just like a classroom. We will have different assignments, assessments, homework for you, so you can be interactive. It's not like that you are attending the course and you will be sleeping or you are going out. It will be on the video conference, so everyone can see each other and everyone can interact in such a way that you will not feel that you are alone or you are getting bored. Because there is a difference between online courses and virtual courses. Virtual live course means instructor led, and instructor will be available with you during the whole course. Online means the course is being recorded earlier and you are now listening. You cannot ask the question, you cannot discuss anything. So that's why online courses sometimes become very bored. because of there is no interaction. So in virtual live web sessions, there will be a full interaction between the participant and the trainer, so they can interact with each other in a much better way. Thank you so much for your participation, and I hope you will have a bit learning about these courses. With this 1 hour or 45 minutes webinar, we understand that you cannot become the expert for health and safety, but at least now you have some basic understanding. And if you are going to write on the Google about health and safety, it will be more precise. You will be writing in such a way that which industry you want to search, if you are looking for general industry or construction or any other type of industry, and you will be having a clear concept for these qualifications, so you can decide that where in which direction I have to move forward. Now we will be taking your questions. I'm going to have
Thank you,
your
Mr. Anas,
questions.
for such an informative webinar we have today. Thank you guys for being with us. Please, you can ask your question. Please write down the question in comment box so we can communicate to Mr. Anas and he will reply you directly. What will be the fees of IOSH?
IOSH fees, you can see in the slides that the fees for IOSH is 800 Riyal. Because now we have all the courses in a very less fees due to this, because the hotel cost is going to be saved. So these all costing are very limited time. Before IOSH was 1500 and now it is 800 Riyal only, adding the VAT also.
Someone is asking about what is the difference between OSHA and OSHA Academy. Is it they are similar?
OSHA is basically the department. See, very good question. OSHA is basically the department, okay, which works under the Ministry of Labor. OSHA Academy is the training provider, which develop the courses with regards to OSHA standards, and they provide the qualification. So OSHA is the regulatory body, and OSHA Academy, there are many training bodies which are providing the OSHA courses. For example, OSHA Academy is one of them. NSC is one of them. 360 Training is one of them. They all have the same content, because the content is not from them. The content is the legal law which they are going to write in their training. So these all trainings are almost the same. OSHA Academy is the most popular in the Middle East, and the certificate from OSHA Academy can be verified online directly. Sometimes our participants they have experienced this, that the recruiter or the employer is going to ask you, how can I trust that this certificate is real or fake? So they can ask with confidence that you can check now with the QR code or the link which the certificate.
Thank you. Someone is asking about will the British Council taking the exam of NIBOSH online or face to face?
No, the exam for the NIBOSH IGC will be the classroom. Okay, classroom. But as now NIBOSH has given us permission that you can deliver the course and you can keep the participant registered. So whenever the situation for Corona is going to be, inshallah, it's going to be better, we are going to open the examination, then you can schedule the examination.
Have Arabic exam in NIBOSH?
We can have two options. Like the training will be in English. Unfortunately, we don't have the license for Arabic. Even in I think Kingdom, there are only one or two maybe training provider, or in UAE, they have the license for the Arabic. So what we can give you the option that you can submit your report in Arabic, which is GC2, but the theoretical exam, it will be in English and your training will be in English.
What is the minimum qualification of doing IOSH training?
As I told you, in OSHA, IOSH, NIBOSH, always remember there is no minimum qualification. Even if you are 10th grade pass, if you are an engineer, if you are 12th grade, you are diploma holder, you are BTech holder, you can go for these qualifications. There is no educational requirement. But as I told you before, that you need to have understanding of English, so you can understand the training and you can give the exam.
So how can we get the certificates after finishing the courses?
We will courier you definitely. Once you will give the exam, we will courier you to your address throughout the world. Wherever you are, we have the corporate account with the DHL. So we do like this.
So the fee includes already the courier fee?
Yeah, if you are in Kingdom, it's including the courier fee. But if you are in other countries, we need to check whatever we can support.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, your fees you mentioned is 2,950 riyals for Nebush. Is this fees including exam fees?
Yes, this fees including exam fees within the kingdom. Okay, if you are in the kingdom, Saudi Arabia, so this includes the examination fees. But if you are in other countries, it means that you will pay only 2,000 and your examination fees will be as per actual. For example, if you are in Qatar or if you are in UAE or Bahrain, so we will contact the Bahrain British Council and we will take the rates from them once we are going to plan your examination, and we will tell you the fees. It will not be more than this. I hope it will be around the same fees. But this does not include the VAT. So 5% VAT is going to be included in all of the qualifications.
May I ask some question about career scope in safety for freshers?
Yeah, career in safety is a very challenging, right? It's not an easy.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Yeah, I know.
It's a very competitive environment in the organization, so it's not easy. But as I told you, if you are having qualification along your basic qualification, you will have always upper hand as compared to other people. But there's
like
a career
someone...
now with the passage of time internationally in all over the country, the requirement of safety are going to be more strict. The requirement of safety are going to be more stringent. So the career is there. We can say that the bright career. It's not like that the jobs are going to be obsolete, or after some time there will be no jobs in the safety. Whenever there is a infrastructure development, whenever there is a manufacturing company, they need the safety people.
Like someone designer or another skill, so they switches this their career, so it is possible to achieve the good salary and another things.
Yeah, there is nothing impossible. See, after the international qualification and your basic qualification, all you need to have is the understanding about the safety requirements, and then experience come. So initially you will be struggling for a couple of years, but after that you will get used to of these things.
The ISO 9001 lead auditor course, which is 950 riyals. Does this include already the ISO awareness course?
No, sorry. There is it's a wrong. There is some correction is needed. ISO 9000 is not 950. I think there is problem with the copy paste when I did. It is 2,100 riyal, 2,100 per participant. It is including the examination. The classes will be the virtual classes, and the examination will be the classroom. IRCA has given the permission that after the training, you will have around 6 months. Within 6 months, you need to arrange one day with the participant so you can make their revision in the classroom and take the exam on the same day. So the examination will be the classroom based.
So how much is this supposedly? It's
2,100. 2,100. Yeah.
So this includes already the awareness, ISO awareness, right?
Yeah, it's a full course, awareness.
And lead auditor course.
Yeah, it's the main title is IRCA approved lead auditor course.
Yeah.
Someone told me IOS is better than OSHA. Is it true or what?
There is no comparison between OSHA and IOSH. As you can see, the course content for OSHA is different, IOSH is different. OSHA is all about the requirements, and IOSH is all about the management of safety.
So
when you talk about, sorry.
Which is the better? Which is the better?
I as a trainer, I can't give you this my decision that which is better. You need to see your requirement, the company where you are going to apply, the company where you are working, what regulation they are going to follow. If they are going to follow American regulation, so OSHA is better to start. But ultimately, for the management of safety, you have to take IOSH as well after some time.
So
but
if I am a fresher,
yes.
so which course is suitable for me?
You can
OSHA
start
or
with
Ayush?
OSHA or Ayush, any of these courses, and then go for the next.
Okay, thank you.
We are taking last 3 questions, please. So we
Yeah,
can.
very fast because we have another seminar at 8 o'clock, so we have to finish now.
For any questions, you can contact training@hseqprofessionals.net. For all
When
those,
Nebush exam will be held?
Which exam?
Yeah, Nebush exam will be held.
Exam, as I told you, Nibosh and British Council, they have hold all the examination due to Corona. As soon as the situation will get better, they will allow the exam. So I hope by end of June, or sorry, by end of May, as British Council told us that inshallah things will be better.
And sir,
we
in
can
IGC one, what you will help us that one to complete the project in IGC one?
IGC one is the theoretical exam, not the project. In GC2
Sorry.
is basically the theoretical
Yeah,
exam.
GC2.
We
Yeah.
can provide you that we can provide you some sample reports, and also once you will be writing the report, you will submit us. Our approved trainer is going to review these reports, and wherever there will be any weakness which can cause you the failure in the examination,
Yes, sir.
we're going to suggest that you can make improvement in the report. But at the end of the day, the report will also be now checked by the Nibosh directly.
Yeah, but you people provide us the help in that one, that to make it corrections.
Yes, we will give our review, expert review for the improvement. But you will write your report by yourself. You will be making the correction in your report by yourself.
Yeah, definitely not because cut and paste, and it should be written. Yes.
Exactly.
So we are taking
Okay,
the last
question, please.
And all those participants who are interested in the PPT, let me just clear you. We will share the presentation in our group and recording, voice recording also. So stay tuned.
Sir, how many questions we need to attempt in the Nebush?
There are 12 questions. 12 questions. Some of questions are 10 marks, and some of the questions are 8 marks.
So total, how many questions? I mean, all questions need to attempt.
Yeah. There is no optional. There is no option. There is no choice. You have to attempt all the questions in Nebush.
And from where we get these past papers, sir? Past papers and answer keys.
We once you are going to register with any of the training provider, their trainers, they have their own notes available because of their past experiences, and they have the past papers available, so they can provide you during the courses.
Okay, but there is no any websites that provide the information.
No
websites, the previous papers.
No, there is no website which can provide you the past paper. It's with the training providers.
Thank you, Fahad.
Okay,
thank
guys,
you, everyone.
thank you so much. Inshallah, we will be having next seminar on next week about ISO 9001 and ISO 45001 standard awareness, which are the management system for quality and health and safety. Then we have another webinar on the same day, 17th of October, about CESP, which is the highest qualification in electrical safety. So those who are engineers or they are having background of electrical safety, mechanical safety, they must take this webinar so they can implement the electrical safety requirement within the company, and it will be a very boost in your career. So we will keep you aware about our all upcoming training session. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, all the participants who are allocate their valuable time for this webinar. We will
Thank you.
webinar at right after next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.